This episode of Recording Studio Rockstars is brought to you by Isotope, Native Instruments, SAE Institute, Adam Audio, Spectra 1964, and Picker. In fact, you're hearing my voice right now recorded through a Spectra 1964 STX 100 mic pre and mixed with Isotope, Ozone, and RX on Adam Audio monitors and headphones. Grab my free mixing course at Mixmaster Bundle with the link in the show notes below. And please make sure to visit our fantastic sponsors also in the show notes and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because it's a great way to help support this show. Now get ready to rock. So talk about setting up your studio again and figuring out how to put that all together.
Okay, first, once we knew we were going to move, the first thing I started to do is to start mixing on headphones right away. Even my older studio in Quebec. I started to train myself to mix on headphones and I kind of got hooked to it. And that helped me a lot, especially when moving to a new space. And at first, we rented a house for 6 months. Okay, so that was just like a temporary setup. Right. So I brought all of my acoustic panels with me, which were not framed. You know, they were framed kind of, I don't know how you call that, but the framing was kind of part of the wall structure in Quebec. So I left everything in place, but I just took the material out of the framing. And this is what I used in my room. And so I just recycled all of that material into new panels when I got here. So at first, for the first 6 months in that rental house, I just set up quickly and continue making my videos and mixing gigs and stuff, mainly doing everything on headphones.
Welcome to Recording Studio Rockstars. I'm Lij Shaw, and this is the podcast created to help you become a rock star of the recording studio. Rockstars, if you want the ultimate toolkit for your music, check out Complete 15 from Native Instruments. With 165 instruments and over 150,000 sounds to choose from, it is the most powerful creative tool in your studio. From Contact 8 to Massive X, Battery, and Guitar Rig 7 Pro, you've got everything you need to create in any genre. Pair that with Native Instruments control keyboards and machine hardware, and you get next-level integration that makes music creation fun, fast, and seamless. Head on over to nativeinstruments.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. Howdy, Rockstars. It's your host, Lij Shaw. Welcome back to Recording Studio Rockstars, bringing you into the studio to learn from recording professionals and be a rock star of the studio yourself. My guest today is Chris Selim, a musician, music producer, and mixing engineer behind Mixdown Online, where he helps home studio owners and musicians improve their recording, mixing, and production skills. His YouTube channel has grown over 125,000 subscribers and 14 million views, thanks to his clear, practical tutorials that make it easier to get pro results from your home studio. Chris is also the co-host of the Studio Stuff podcast, a laid-back and informative show where he and Steve Dierkens talk music production, gear, and home studio life. With more than 80 albums produced and over 22 years of making records, Chris is especially known for his work in the French Christian music scene. Primarily working in the box with Cubase, Chris shares the tools and techniques that he once searched for himself, empowering musicians around the world to make better music from their home. He first joined us back on episode RSR098. That was a while ago, and I'm psyched to have him back. We've been friends for many, many years. Please welcome Chris Selim back to Recording Studio Rockstars. Chris, my brother, are you ready to rock, dude?
I'm more than ready, Lij.
Dude, I know you are, man.
Oh, yeah.
I know you are. You've been through there's been a lot of changes in the world and in life since the last time we did an episode.
Man, was it like 5 years ago or something?
I guess so. I mean, this is going to be 500 and I forget, you know?
Man, time flies, man. Yeah, a lot have happened since the last time I was on the podcast. So all good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Well, let's.
All
Why don't
positive.
you give us a little bit of an update on some of this stuff? So, like one of the things that happened is you were living out east in Quebec.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then you moved west to Calgary.
Yes.
And sort of had to go through the dreaded process of taking apart your studio and putting it back together, right?
Yeah, that was quite a challenge, because I'm not in the same kind of studio I was when I was in Quebec. The whole thing is that's a huge change for me. First of all, moving across the country, going from a town called Saint-Hyacinthe in Quebec to the big city of Calgary in Alberta, which is like a 4-day drive.
Wow.
Canada is a huge country, and so that it was quite a move, but all worth it. So we love nature, we love hiking, we love the mountains, we love all that good stuff. And this stuff here is just amazing. We're like 45 minutes from the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. It's just amazing, dude. You need to come over.
I want to, man. I want to. I've been planning on it.
We have
all
a
the
guest
pictures
room.
you've sent me. Just like you can't take a bad photo there.
No, even if you have like a lousy phone, it's going to turn out pretty good.
It looks amazing. Like the mountainscapes, everything looks like it looks like a screensaver. I guess that's a good way to put it, man.
Totally. So every like second weekend, we just go down to the mountains for a hike, come back the same night. It's like it's a blessing to be that close to all that marvelous type of nature.
Yeah, dude, you moved into a screensaver. That's exactly what happened.
I did, yeah.
Pretty cool. And then did you become a meme yourself,
Almost.
Kind of. I mean, that's another thing. I think when we met and you first came on the podcast, you obviously had been doing your YouTube channel for a while.
Yeah.
But you really leveled everything up between then and now too. You obviously shared your history. So Rockstars, Chris is a drummer, and he talked about that on the last episode. He told us about coming to Nashville and having that experience.
Yeah.
And then going back up to Canada, and then starting your home studio. But along with that, you started a YouTube channel, and you just kind of dove into that world of, sharing, creating content.
Yeah, that was like 15 years into my producing career. I started to post videos back in 2016 or something, around that time. And that kind of took off somehow. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I kind of like the idea on working 100% online. It wasn't the case when I started the YouTube channel, of course, but I was able to make the transition to be fully online, and which is great, because I used to have like clients over, artists and stuff, to come down to the studio, which was a great studio. It was in the basement of my home, but it was like more of a project / professional studio vibe than a home studio. Everything was like super soundproofed, and the rooms were just like super well treated, and it was like lots of.
So you had isolation rooms and everything. Yeah, I remember you had a drum in an ISO booth over to the side. Right?
Because at the time when we built the house, we had like our two daughters were like young kids running around, and I wanted them to to act like kids and not be quiet every time I'm recording a take.
Right.
So that's why we just like built the house with that in mind. So we had like high ceilings and, everything. It was like a box within a box. Okay. So
you guys built your house?
Yes, we did. Yeah. That was
back. So you got to sort of design it how you wanted it to be a little bit.
Exactly. So it was back in 2006. And and so I had like a bunch of, on a regular basis, like clients coming over, recording. And so I did a lot of producing back then, for Christian French artists, people flying from Europe down to Montreal. And so that was my main job, like full-time for 15 years. And then I just like kind of pivoted a bit more towards mixing and mastering more than producing. Because my goal, my intention was to just build everything to be fully online. And so with the
Right, because
combination
you already
of,
had a vision at that point where
yes,
you realized that you could mix and work with clients remotely because you were already working with clients who were flying to come there.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And so I just wanted to like do more of online stuff, just to have a bit more freedom. And we already at that time were thinking of moving, maybe out west or somewhere in the States, where like, it was time for a change for us, But when your client base is related to the studio, the space you have, it's a bit more complicated, So, and my wife also had a job in Montreal, and so by transitioning fully online, it kind of gave us the opportunities to, at some point, do whatever we want, like, and this is what we came up with right after COVID. It was like, okay, we're like fully online now, like all of my mixing gigs are online. I don't have like people coming checking out the mixes at the studio. It's all been done online, which is the case for the majority of mixers anyways. And on top of selling courses and having my online Mixdown online business on YouTube, which is now mainly my work now, I was like, okay, let's just sell the house and move out and check the map and let's go to Calgary. There you go. So we have a bit of family here, which is good. My sister-in-law is here. My nephew and nieces are here also. My daughter, both of my daughters moved to Calgary also. So the whole family is here. So
and I don't remember if we've had a chance to talk about this because the podcast, was a while ago. But so for us, down here in the South, or whatever, down here, you think about Canada, and Canada's so beautiful. Of course, I've been there in the summer. I have been there in the winter. In fact, I was in Quebec in the winter once when I was a kid. They even had like ice sled toboggan runs and stuff like that. But it's easy to think about Canada as a pretty cold and weathery place. I guess weathery is a good word, right?
Yeah.
But Calgary is a little bit unique too, right? Because you guys you certainly have winters that are that, but you get these, what they're called the Chinooks, or is that right?
Yeah, which is a great phenomena. It's awesome.
It just makes everything feel like it's warming up a little bit.
Yeah, it's because of the mountains and the way, because we're at the near the foothills, so you have like the winds coming out of the Pacific, going through the Rocky Mountains, and then it drops straight into the valley, so straight on us, So and it brings like warmer winds and warmer weather during the winter. So it's pretty cool. So you see when the Chinooks comes to town, we have like the Chinooks cloud, which looks like a spaceship, invaders coming to town, so it's kind of weird. Wow. And then that the next day or the next few hours, it's going to be nice. And so middle of January, you can like go through go from -20, for example, Celsius, and it can go up to 5, 6, 7 degrees in less than an hour.
All right. So here's a question. I don't remember whether I thought to ask you this last time, but when winters get that cold, how does it affect recording music in studios? Does it affect instruments? Does it get very dry?
It's a dry climate to begin with.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the winter or the summer, we're kind of aligned with Arizona. If you look at the map, so it's the prairies at the same time, even if we're close to the mountains. So the climate in general is a bit more dry. Maybe not as dry as Arizona, but still, during the summer, it could be like 15% to 25% of humidity rate.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Which is so comfortable, honestly.
Right. It's comfortable, but it can be tough on instruments sometimes,
it could.
Right? Yeah.
It could.
Like you have to watch out with guitars. I feel like acoustic guitars particularly.
Yeah, my daughter has a big cello, so she always has like this little gadget, which adds a bit of humidity inside the cello that she puts in every now and then.
In fact, I just learned about this from my neighbor, Jeremy, who I've been playing music with. He has these little things. You just get them on Amazon or whatever. They're little humidity packs. I don't even remember what the brand is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody. But they're like, decandescent or whatever they call it, those packets, and you just slip them into a little fabric holder, and you just throw one up at the front end of the guitar case, and the other one kind of hangs over the strings in your acoustic when you close it and put it in the case. And it's supposed to keep your humidity perfect on the instrument all year long.
Nice.
So that's kind of a handy thing.
Yeah, especially here. It's pretty handy.
Yeah. What about just the cold weather and like?
It's a couple of weeks a year. You know, like
that it gets really cold.
Yeah, extreme cold. You know, like minus 35 or something with the windshield.
It's so funny. I love how casually you say that.
Yeah, you know, but it's still not humid. Like in Quebec, man, it's way more humid than it is here in Calgary. And when it's like minus 15, you can feel it. You feel it in your bones in Quebec. Here in Calgary, it's like, oh, it's still cold, but it's sunny all the time. And it's drier, so you don't feel it as cold and uncomfortable than what I'm used to in Quebec. You know, so
you don't get the snow piling up where you can't open your front door of your house and all that.
No, that's so different. I was expecting lots of snow from the stories I've heard, but no. People here, they think they have like rough winters, but apart from extreme cold that happens, like I said, maybe a week and a half or a couple of weeks a winter, it's up and down. You know, you get to minus 10 and then plus 5 or 8 and then it goes back down, but it's always sunny. That's the beauty of it. There's
always sunny.
It's awesome. It's 333 days of sun in average in Calgary only a year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which is great. So we love
beautiful. It sounds like LA, you know.
Yeah, and it's closer to LA. So when I fly to Nam, it's like a couple of hour flight, and that's it.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, because it was quite a haul for you before.
Oh yeah,
and it's always fun to see you. So Rockstars, we always go to Chris and Matt Boudreau from Working Class Audio. We'll every time if we can get on planes and fly down to LA or to Anaheim rather and hang out for a week at the
That's
NAMM
one of the highlights
conference.
Of the year.
It's fun. It's fun to just see everybody and do it like that, you know.
That's why we mainly do it.
In fact, as this comes out, there will be one coming up around the corner pretty soon.
Yep.
So, you know, another thing that happened once you started your YouTube channel is actually, let me back up. Let me stay on the studio topic before I pivot to other ideas. Yep. So because, you know, you're describing being in the new location. So talk about setting up your studio again and like figuring out how to put that all together.
Okay. First, once we knew we were going to move, the first thing I started to do is to start mixing on headphones right away. Even my older studio in Quebec. I started to train myself to mix on headphones and I kind of got hooked to it. And that helped me a lot, especially when moving to a new space. And at first, we rented a house for 6 months. Okay, so that was just like a temporary setup. Right. So I brought all of my acoustic panels with me, which were not framed. You know, they were framed kind of, I don't know how you call that, but the framing was kind of part of the wall structure in Quebec. So I left everything in place, but I just took the material out of the framing, and this is what I used in my room. And so I just recycled all of that material into new panels when I got here. So at first, for the first 6 months in that rental house, I just set up quickly and continue making my videos and mixing gigs and stuff, mainly doing everything on headphones. Just because, you know, you get into a new space, you're not too sure about the acoustics, you try your best, but, you know, it takes a bit of a certain time to get used to the acoustics and of the room itself in relation to the speakers and stuff. So by just training myself from the beginning on mixing on headphones, that part was way easier for me anyways. And then we bought a house and I have my setup that I have now into this new space in the basement again, but now I'm into a real home studio. No high ceilings, like a regular 8 feet ceiling, and that's it, you know. And if my wife drops a cup up in the kitchen, which is right above me,
you hear it.
Yeah, it's gonna feel like she's dropping the whole kitchen.
Rock stars, are you ready to unlock the full potential of your mixes and masters, then you need iZotope Ozone 12. This complete tool set gives you 20 Pro modules, including the new bass control, unlimiter, and stem EQ, plus the IRC5 maximizer for loud, clean mixes and masters without distortion, including the new mastering assistant that guides, not decides, so you are always in control. Go to iZotope.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. Wow, I didn't realize it was quite that different for you. We hadn't really talked about that much, but you and I. And that's quite a change. I mean, especially depending on what you want to do. But with your interests in music, learning how to mix, focus on mixing and mastering and doing that kind of stuff, and also producing through programming and stuff where you don't have to have live microphones necessarily, and then the YouTube channel. That's probably changed some of the requirements for you too. Where does that sort of fit a home studio that's less, less designed more easily? Definitely.
I don't work with artists on site anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a huge change. Even at the end when I was in Quebec, in the last couple of years before we moved, I was already into the online business mode. So it was like one booth. My vocal booth was like, it was a room just to pack up some stuff, that boxes and stuff like that, so it wasn't even, I wasn't even using it as a recording room anymore. So my needs changed because the business model changed also. So that's why I didn't mind just set myself up into a basement of a home, and it works pretty well. I still record stuff. I have my drums into the next room in the basement.
Oh, cool!
All mic'd up, and but that also is a challenge. Okay, you have like that real acoustic drum that you want to mic. It's in a very tiny room. I'm not used to that. My room was like not a super large room in my old studio, but it was still like a good size, medium size room, which was great to record drums. But now it's like maybe a 9 by 11 feet room, with lower ceilings. And it's like, okay. But there's a way to be creative.
Yeah. Let's share with us some of the stuff that you've learned. Because I mean, also, the people you connect with on YouTube and the people that you help are all a lot of people who have home studios and are trying to record that way. So people are used to limitations.
Yes.
And, I do have a studio out back, but one day I may just find myself in a much smaller home studio, and because making music is just fun, and sometimes I don't need all that massive space to just be able to write and record songs. So, what kind of stuff regarding drums? Let's start there. What stuff have you discovered yourself that changes a little bit in terms of how to get a cool drum sound in a smaller room?
Yeah, first of all, in a small room like this one, it could sound pretty dead. Okay, which could be an advantage. You could add everything afterwards and you get a good drum sound, But you have to get used to that super dry type of sound. But there's ways you can add to this. And this is what I've been experimenting. I actually made a video on my YouTube channel talking about this. Across the hall from that drum room, there's my bathroom. That is the perfect little space to add room mics. So this is what I have. I have a couple of mics.
Sometimes you have to remember to turn them off when you go use the bathroom.
Yes, because that can cause problems on recordings.
Especially when you got a studio full of people, I've actually had something like that happen. Or I have a vocal mic that's like right next to the bathroom door and everybody's still in headphones in the other space. It's like, oh, hey. All right.
Or, it's funny because this is kind of my main bathroom, that I use all the time. I shower there and everything's my little space, And my son-in-law came the other night and he was like, can I use the shower downstairs? Yeah, go ahead. Comes back. I was like, there's like microphones in the washroom. Can I move them out? It's like, yeah, I do it, Because, they're always in the hallway when I take a shower. But when I'm done and even when I practice drums, I mic'd everything up. I have my laptop, which is my main computer for the studio. Bring the laptop with me. I have another interface. all mic'd up, and connect the interface to the laptop, and I'm good to go. I can even record right away based on templates and stuff, So I just put on the microphone in the bathroom, and I get that nice room sound, which is amazing.
That's great. Let's talk about that for a moment. So you just you touched on a topic that I think can be important to us, depending on our setups and situations. In my studio, for example, I have a control room where, if I'm going to be the engineer or the producer, I can run the session for whoever's in the other room recording. But when I want to record, it was always a little bit of a conundrum. It's like, well, what do? Do you have to back in the old days when we were in the ADAT studio, you'd have to hit record in the control room on the I forget what it was called, the master. Maybe that was also called the MCC. I don't know, but it was the controller for the ADATs.
Yeah.
And then you'd run out the door and run in the other door and then run in the other door and run across the room to the drums and then play your take, and then you have to run back again
to stop.
And then now I try things with, a laptop, but it sounds like you figured out a way that was sort of convenient. And since you've talked to a lot of home studio people, what are some ways that have allowed people to easily go from one location or one room to another and be able to control the recording?
Yeah, like in my case, since I don't record other drummers than myself in this space, I instead of wiring a bunch of cables and stuff through the walls and stuff like I had in my other studio, I decided just to keep it simple and just get another interface dedicated to that room. And the only thing I need to do is to bring my laptop with me, do my takes, come back here to the control room, start mixing, editing, or whatever I need to do, So I think it depends on your needs.
The microphones are dedicated to the drum area.
Yep.
And they're always plugged into the interface. And all you have to do is plug your laptop into the interface.
That's
and
it.
Boom,
the interface is already set up.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, I like the setup. I like it a lot.
Because it's funny. I don't know how common this is in my situation. I have a lot of old interfaces. I end up with I upgrade and then the old one goes over in the corner.
Exactly,
and it's there is an opportunity to set them up in different locations and just have them available to use if you need it, so you don't have to move. Because you were saying in your old studio, you'd had the mic lines from the drum room come through the wall to the control room.
Yes, exactly. Right. I was able to kind of set myself a remote station right next to my drums, and I was able to control my main computer, which wasn't a laptop. It was like a tower that was set up in between the two rooms outside the main control room, and it was all connected together. So that was kind of a remote setup. So that worked well for this studio. But again, in that studio, I was recording other drummers, other musicians. So the setup I have here wasn't very practical to have in my other studio with the kind of work I was doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But now that the only thing I record is myself, I just need to bring the stuff with me to record, and I'm the engineer anyway. So
yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of more of a home production, self-producing studio.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And that's, there's a lot of people who follow your YouTube channel. That's their situation. And there's tons of people who are watching this right now that's exactly their situation too.
Exactly. And if I would need, let's say I work with a band or something, and I need a bigger studio, I'll rent one. I'll go to a space, I'm in Calgary. There's a bunch of, maybe, 4 or 5 big studios in town.
Cool.
I can just drop on and start recording.
Have you started to connect with the music community and the recording community there?
Funny enough, not much, except for Steve Dierkens, where this is a guy I met here, and we kind of hit it off, and we started a podcast together, and we became very good friends. And you met him a couple of times too at NAM.
Steve's a funny dude. He's great.
He's a funny guy. Man, he's funny. He's a very good friend. And he has all the connections to all the studios here, and he has his own space also. And it's if I need a studio, I would just call Steve.
Yeah.
It's hey, I'm coming over.
Well, so tell us about the podcast that you guys launched. So what was your thinking on doing that?
Listen, it's weird. It's been a while that I was thinking on starting a podcast, but I didn't want to do it alone. by myself. I wanted to find the right person to start a podcast with, and but sometimes things just kind of fall down together easily. And that was the case with Steve. You know, we met at church. We played together on stage a few times. We kind of connected very well on the musical side, you know. And we started to just go out for breakfast and coffees, and then went to NAM the first time you met Steve. That was our first time going to NAM together. And from that point, I brought him on the YouTube channel for a couple of videos. And it worked well, and the connection was kind of there, you know. And even doing a couple of videos together back then, which was like a year ago, we're like, man, maybe we should do something together, you know, maybe a podcast. So we've been talking about that like for a year before, almost a year before we actually start to commit and jump into the podcast adventure.
So how do you do it? You guys... you get together in the same space.
Yeah.
Do you do it sort of remotely? How does
That's
that work?
a huge advantage to be in the same space. And you know that, you know, now we're doing it remotely, but we know each other pretty well. So it's kind of, it's pretty easy also, but you have people over to your studio when you do a podcast too, you know?
And it's so much easier to have a conversation that way.
It is, you know, let's face it, it's not the same. And and we have that connection when we're together in the same room, me and Steve. And the way we do it, we set up right here in my space right here. So I have a table that I set up at the back, and we have like 3 cameras, and that's it. We just start shooting. We have like a topic. We know which topic we're going to talk about, but we don't prep together, you know. So I know the topic. I'm going to take a few notes on my end. He's going to take a few notes on his end, just to list what we're going to talk about. And when we first talk about the topic, it's with the cameras on. And that's it.
So that it's like capturing the first take of a band.
Whatever happens, happens.
Studio.
Yeah. And we kind of like it this way, you know.
Yeah. Are you using any particular tools? Do you use, we're using something called Riverside right now, which helps us have, you know, this sort of Zoom style interview, but it also makes sure that the quality of the video and the audio is high.
Yeah.
Which is convenient. That's cool.
Honestly, the way we work on the technical side, we record everything straight from the cameras on SD cards, as simple as that, and everything in 4K. Then I transfer everything over to drives. My audio, I just go through my interface in Cubase and record. That's it. As simple as that, and everything is done, edited in Premiere. And I have like a NAS system here for kind of a personal cloud system, and this is how I put everything on our shared drive that we have. Steve takes care of editing the videos with you know, the software you told me about that does all the
Autopod and
Autopod. Yeah, so I got Autopod at first, and then he decided to get Autopod also. So canceled my subscription. He takes care of that part, does the first pass of editing and stuff, and you know, we kind of share the load on stuff, and then I upload on my side, and so I do the filming here, do the prep, he does the editing, and then I finalize the editing and I bump it up to YouTube.
Well, you're great at filming. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. You taught. I learned a lot from you. I mean, Rockstars, just look at our 2 videos right here. You can tell, like, I mean, I figured out how to have a good camera and have it look sharp. But Chris knows how to have the whole like colored background and all that stuff. I haven't quite got there yet, but I'm working on it.
It's Part good. Of it is, you know, your setup is pretty neat, man.
Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. It took a lot of figuring out to get it going. But one of the things I learned is that, you know, that kind of, you know, out of focus background with light, colored lights and stuff like that, you need a bit of depth behind you. You can't be like, but the wall's like, I mean, I'm this close to the wall, so you know, you can't. It's hard to do that effect when
it's about space. You know, the more space you have behind you, the more of depth of field with the right settings on the camera you'll have. You know, but a lot of podcasts I watch online, they have a similar setup as you have, which is very close to the back wall. You know, even look at Joe Rogan. Rogan doesn't have like a huge depth of field, you know.
I know they're almost in a closet together. It's sort of funny
exactly.
The way that show goes.
For podcasts and stuff, I don't think it matters.
And to that point, I mean, that's very. I know we're talking about videos here, but I do. It all connects, you know. We get into audio, we get into music and production. And then, at least for me, discovering video and starting to mess around with that, it appeals to the same part in a way as audio does. It's not quite like singing and making a song or playing an instrument, but there's, it's very creative trying to figure out how to get a shot, use all the technical stuff, and, figure out how to edit. And so It's pretty fun. Dreaming of a career in audio or the entertainment business? SAE Institute Nashville, in the heart of Music Row, offers hands-on programs where you'll learn on professional-grade gear with industry pros, learning through real projects, not just lectures. Explore studio production, live sound, audio for film, and a whole lot more. Or take the entertainment business program to learn about contracts, promotion, and more. With diploma, associate, and bachelor's programs, there's a path for you. Book a tour today at nashville.sae.edu or call 615-244-5848. So you guys have done a bunch of episodes there. What have you gotten some connection with your audience yet through the podcast? I know you do get a lot of that through the YouTube.
Yeah, through the YouTube, and we have like a form for people to fill up if they want to ask questions, but because this is what we wanted to do with the podcast, is to answer as many questions as possible. So we kind of base our topics around questions we receive. So we get some from comments out of the YouTube videos of the video version of the podcast, and also through the form that is linked to the show notes of every podcast.
Yeah, and so on the podcast is Studio Stuff Podcast.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Studio
Stuff. Right podcast.
We'll have a link to that in the show notes too, for sure.
Honestly, it's a fun project,
Yeah.
But I'm starting from scratch with this project.
Yeah, you got to build it. It takes a while to grow that stuff.
It does.
That's a fair question, and I know this doesn't need to be a YouTube interview, because it's obviously a recording podcast, but it is relatively interesting to many of us now, because it's just integrated into everything we do. The video, the creation. Whether it's building a social media channel for our studios and production, or the music that we're recording and releasing, or whatever. You started your YouTube channel, and now it'd be easy for any of us to look at you and go like, Chris, he's just really good at that. He really knows how to do it. He's got all these, subscribers, and he's got all the cool cameras and the lighting and stuff like that. I don't know if I'll get there. Or people will start something and then they get frustrated because they're like, oh man, nobody's listening to my music, or nobody's looking at my videos. Do you remember it taking a while to sort of grow your video channel?
The first 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel took like 8 months to get.
Really?
Yeah.
And was that like putting out a video every single week or something like that, or even more?
Oh yeah, totally. Every single week. And then it kind of, at some point, it's going to be exponential, as long as you stay consistent,
right?
With publishing videos every week and on a regular basis, and make good videos that relates to your audience. So it's very important to know who your audience is.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like an easy thing, but it's not easy. It's
right, because then the question is, how do you find out who your audience is?
And after all the years I've been working YouTube, now I kind of know who the audience is, who watch my videos. There's the analytics inside YouTube that helps. There's, and by just reading the questions in the comments, you get to know your audience, and you get to know who, what the kind of questions you receive,
Do you feel like that applies to making music?
That's a good question.
Yeah. You're interacting with a lot of people that are recording in home studios. Some people are putting music out. Some people are, I don't know. I mean, you tell us, but I think you got a wide cross section of people who are making music. And
so explain your question a bit more.
Well, so like, for example, the needing to know your audience and give people what they want and stuff. In what ways does that apply to making music?
It could apply the same way it does for YouTube in a way, but at the same time, music is very creative. It's something that you kind of get something out of you into the world, So a lot of it is personal,
Right.
And people kind of fall in love with your music when the music and the art is authentic,
Right.
So you could do music for, I'm not saying like every pop artist are doing it this way, but someone could like do music on purpose to serve a certain type of audience, in which could be a good thing. For example, music for placement on films and stuff like that. Now like these people are going to write music, compose music for a specific situation, like for a specific movie, for in a genre that would be appropriate for this piece of music to be placed on a commercial and stuff like that. So there's I think there's moments where writing music could be the same as working a social media platform, where you need to know who you want to send your music to, and you make your music and compose your music for this type of crowd. So it could be like a business way to make money at the same time, But there's also the other side which is what most artists I think are doing. They write music that they like. They share the message they want to share, how they feel about whatever. And whoever kind of listened to the music and like it, this is how they grow their audience, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's, what comes to mind for me is if you're out performing, well, then you get an immediate feedback, hopefully, because you're in front of, audience. You're at a place where other people are hopefully watching the music, Not always, but sometimes you got to be patient and you keep working your way up. But eventually you probably get a sense of performing your song for a crowd of people, or for, whether it's a tiny crowd of one or, a big, 1,000 people or thousands. And then you get a sense of how your music's connecting. So you begin to know how to like write and make the music. I guess when you're recording the music and producing it, you're sort of instinctively trying to make the music great and trying to make it sound really cool. And on some level, the feedback is, people telling you that it's cool and people listening to it, but it's also, used to be like radio would like it, and so therefore it would get out there, or the local record store would think it was cool, so they'd play it and people would hear it. Now it's probably, like, can you get it on a playlist, or can you get it somewhere? What kind of stuff are you seeing about that now? And if these are a little bit outside of the kind of stuff you focus on the channel, then let me know. But are you getting a sense of how people get their music out independently these days? I would guess social media too, right?
Yeah, a lot. A lot just upload their music on Spotify and, streaming services. That's a huge, huge thing, But I don't focus a lot on that on my channel.
Right.
But from what I see from my VIP members with MCC, a lot of those people, what they do, they want to get the best version of their music out, because most of them are going to just publish that on Spotify, trying to get on playlists and stuff like that, And some will try to get placement also.
When you say placement, you mean placement in film or TV?
Yeah, exactly. TV, film, commercials, stuff like that.
Yeah, so tell us about MCC. And also let me qualify a little bit of this too. So
sure.
I was beginning to talk about wanting to get your music noticed, but that's not everything in music, right? Music is also just, to me, there's nothing wrong with having the experience that just says, I just want to make music and put it out.
Exactly.
We probably want to communicate at least to somebody our music, but sometimes even just making music and having a small group of friends and fans that really appreciate it is very satisfying. And I would guess that you have many people who are just trying to do their music because they love doing it in MCC. So maybe tell us what that's all about, and talk about how that's a part of it, and how you like to be encouraging to people to just, make music and Here's how I can help you make music,
Yeah, I think all of the, I would say the majority, if not all of them, they make music because they love it, and they write their songs because they love it. And there's all sorts of style of music we listen to every time we have a mixed feedback session. And to put everyone in context, the MCC service I offer is a VIP service where we meet every month for a Q&A session. Live, and we do twice, like a couple of live sessions, listening to their mixes, giving our feedback, me and my team. So there's Steve, there's on the team, there's Chaz also that pretty well.
Yeah,
that was
Chaz
on the podcast a few months ago.
Yeah, he was. Chaz was one of my favorite guests.
He was. So
he's
like one of the my go-to guy for MCC. He's like he's all over the place at MCC, so I like it. So he's on almost all the streams, that we do.
And MCC stands for Mixdown Coaching Community.
Community,
right?
exactly.
Okay, great.
Exactly.
So it's essentially it's like a membership community where you can
it's a membership
join
community,
and you can communicate with everybody. You can participate. You can do questions. And it's cool because
answers. even within the members, they start to collaborate together also. So sometimes we get a mix to listen to. It's like, okay, it's these two persons, like these two members that wrote a song together, and they don't even know each other pretty well. It's like they don't even live in the same town, even the same country. One is in Sweden, the other one is in Croatia, whatever, It's all over the world. So it's quite interesting, and it's fun to hear the music that is presented to us twice a month, people can get so creative. It's crazy. It's fun. And then just like you want the best out of their work, so you give them all the tips you have so they can work that out and make even better productions afterwards.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that.
And I've been had the pleasure of being a guest with you on some of the mix listen.
Yes.
The mix review calls with people. And it's really fun. I mean, it's fun to listen to people's songs and just kind of, I scribble notes furiously. I probably everybody's like, why does Lidge have so much to say on that? I mean, it's just instinctively do,
But it's fun times, and we also do challenges, once in a while where I just give them some multi-tracks, and there you go. So the challenge this month could be like we did one where you only allowed to use stock plugins or only 5 plugins. And stuff like that, and people appreciate that. And it's funny, when you listen to the same recording being mixed by several people, everyone has its own vision of the song.
Oh, that's
how it
interesting.
Should sound
that's cool.
So it is quite interesting. So you get
do you get feedback from people saying they really enjoy hearing alternate mixes of the same song?
Oh, they love it. They love it. So every time we have a challenge, we have a bunch of submissions. And those streams usually take longer.
Right.
Because we actually have one next week, which is a song from one of the members. More electronic type of music.
Chris. Pick a short song.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I
just mix the first verse and chorus.
Yeah. But when the song is longer, what I do, I kind of do a little thing with Cubase, with markers and stuff, so it jumps from one section to another. I kind of short the whole process to a minute. So you get only to the main sections, or else you have 20 mixes to listen to.
Oh, it takes for a long time.
Yeah.
We have, there's a group here I joined in Nashville called the Nashville Songwriters Association International.
Oh.
And it's, and they actually have a location down on Music Row. So it's an online thing, but it's also a place where I get to go be in a room full of people. And I've been to some of the mix listening, or it's not mixes, it's songs. People are bringing in their songs. But I think I was there once when they had 50 songs or something. I was like, oh my God, it just took, it took like 2.5 hours or something to get through it. I was exhausted.
My gosh.
So, but it's cool, man. And I love the, that's been an important thing to me too, is trying to get back to my roots in music, get back to the creative side of things.
Yeah.
And really nourish that, And so it's cool to see how you've built that with MCC and you're, having been a visitor there, seeing how all these people from all over the world are sending in songs that they did. Somebody sends in, it's got a bagpipe in it. Somebody sends it something, it's like acoustic. Somebody's, it's a heavy metal song.
And for me, it's whatever I can do to help, it's all about that. I've been working in this type of business for like 20 years, making music, producing music, mixing and mastering and stuff. And so anything I can do to help,
Yeah. Well, now another fascinating thing about that is, you have put yourself in a teaching position essentially,
Yes.
You've become a teacher. And one of the things that I think we learn as when we find ourselves doing teaching is that we actually learn a lot through the process too. So you may have learned a ton both through the, interacting and making videos about stuff, but also like, all the companies and the gear and stuff and microphones that comes your way that you cross paths with. I mean, you got cool headphones on right now, all that stuff. You probably learn a ton that you can share back with people to help them make their music, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. The more you teach, the more you learn. That's what I think. And the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything. And that's the fun part of it. I still feel like even if I've been mixing for more than 20 years, I'm teaching what I've learned so far, which is a lot of stuff, but I'm still learning stuff, which is great. I'm still experimenting with techniques, and I want to make my mixes sound better. And my workflow, I want my workflow to even be easier as I go. So and that is kind of a never-ending story. You're always going to learn, and that's the beauty of it. I kind of like the process of things,
Totally.
And not necessarily get to a certain level and stay there, so.
Hey, rock stars, imagine sitting down at your DAW with 165 instruments and over 150,000 sounds to choose from. That's what Complete 15 from Native Instruments delivers, the most powerful creative tool in your studio. Inside, you'll find Contact 8, Massive X, battery, and Guitar Rig 7 Pro, giving you everything you need to create in any genre. Plus, you'll get inspiring sampled instruments like upright bass and electric keys, along with endless expansions to keep your sound fresh. Whether you're producing hip-hop, scoring films, or creating EDM bangers, Complete 15 has you covered. Pair that with Native Instruments control keyboard and machine hardware, and you get next-level integration that makes music creation fast, fun, and seamless. Go to nativeinstruments.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. Howdy, Rockstars. We're back now for the jam session, the second half of the show. My guest today is Chris Selim from Mixdown Online.
Yes,
joining
sir.
us here at Ready to Rock Studios. Actually, virtually joining us on Ready to Rock Studios.
Yes.
You ready to jam, dude?
I'm
You ready to jam and rock and all of it?
All of the above.
Right on, man. What, from all the teaching you've done and interacting with people, what do you feel like some of the most common struggles that students have, and I thought of some different categories, so let me just say them.
Yeah.
I'll do one at a time. So how about songs? What's the thought that comes to you when you think of common song troubles that people have?
You mean about like songwriting side or?
You tell me. Yeah, you got to start with a good song, right?
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
You have to start with a good song. And I think maybe the lack of collaboration. A lot of people write their own music, they do their own stuff, and they tend not to collaborate with other songwriters and other artists. And I find that when you collaborate with people, you get the best of all worlds, Mm-hmm. Unless you're super talented, and that's the case for a lot of people. But yeah, as far as song goes,
but maybe the talented thing too. Maybe people who are really talented have already written with other people, or they've done their.
A lot of them do. You look at credits on top 40 songs, and you look at the songwriter list, and it's often more than one.
That's true. There are various reasons for that too, though. One of the reasons is if the singer's on there, the singer may have written it, or the singer may have just said, "I'll record your song, but I get half the songwriting."
There's that.
Because they just want the credit, they just want
that
income
sure,
too.
But only as a songwriting level, or when we talk about the song itself. If you don't have a good song to work with, even if you have like an amazing mix, and an amazing recording, it's just going to be a bad song that sounds good.
Well, what makes a song to you? What is a song? If you were to break it down, if you were to say these are the elements of a song, and then in the way I'm not trying to be a trick question or anything, but like these are the elements of a song, and once you start with that, and then you move on to the recording or the production or the performance.
Yeah, I would say a good hook, a good melody.
Yeah, melody.
And when
right?
you have like a good melody, you could go in so many directions when it comes to arrangements. You could go with different chord progressions. You can go with different instrumentation. You can go to different styles also. But I think the heart of a song is the melody, the lyrics. The soul is like at that level, in my book, anyways. I remember when I was doing a lot of productions. This is always what I wanted to hear from a new artist, like from an artist coming to the studio. Like, I don't want you to bring like a full production to have for me to listen to your songs. Just give me a stripped down version.
Right.
Send me like a acoustic vocal version or piano vocal version. This is all I want to hear.
Yeah,
I don't
just
want to
a
hear
voice
more than that.
memo.
That's it. Yeah, do it with your phone. I don't care. Like,
because if it doesn't survive like that, it's not
exactly.
It needs help maybe.
Yeah. And then it happens that as from that point, okay, let's make that part better before we jump to the next stage. But I think the best way to know if a song is good is just like, are you able to sing the melody in the shower?
Right,
are you able to just play an acoustic version, by the fire with friends and everybody sings, So that's the soul, I think, of a song.
And I know there's music that's very rhythmically oriented, or there's there can be production can make a big difference to
of course.
Communicating
Definitely.
the emotion of the music too. Not everything translates to an acoustic guitar, but
but you can actually start writing music by working on the big production itself and big sound design and big, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And do it the other way around. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, and then I was thinking elements like lyric, melody, and one of the things about melody that's been really important to me too is just that keep it interesting. Melody can be challenging, I think, for people.
I think it's the most difficult thing when it comes to songwriting is a good melody that has a good hook.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be like a top 40 song, It's only aimed for pop music, but just like a good melody that kind of gets you,
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy.
Yeah. Varying it up, hitting, dropping the melody down low and the verses moving up high. I remember producing records once when I sort of realized, it dawned on me like, oh, the choruses, a lot of times people just go up an octave in the choruses,
Yeah.
And that's like, in a rock, a lot of my discovery and songwriting was through working on rock music and stuff like that too.
Yeah, same here.
Where it's like there's
Same
an
here.
intensity at the chorus.
Yeah, exactly. Funny enough, I'm not that bad as finding good melodies for verses, but choruses is completely different.
Yeah.
This is why, even on my own music, I always collaborated with people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Now you have some of your own music you sent me, L'Infini is one of the ones.
Yeah.
There's a collaboration.
That's the last one I released a couple of years ago.
That's great. Tell us about that track.
That was a fun track actually, because there's two versions. If you go on Spotify and you look for Chris Selim, you're going to find that song with two versions: an instrumental version, which was the original one, and then a version with Anne-Clémence Rouffet, which is the lead singer I work with. She's a cello player and amazing singer. And
I noticed there were strings and cello all over.
Yeah, she's the one playing. It's like she's awesome, and she used to be my daughter's cello teacher also.
Cool.
And we played on a bunch of productions together. So she was one of the person I called in the studio often for cello tracks and back vocals and stuff. And she's a good songwriter. She writes original, like super creative type of melodies and lyrics in French. So I was almost done with the musical part. So I started that piece of music by writing the music, writing the groove, writing the guitars and the guitar parts with Jimmy, my friend Jimmy. And I kind of built that. Actually, you know what? I made a video on my YouTube channel on the process of writing that song with Splice samples and stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to say, but I still haven't used Splice. I mean, I'm more of a, pick up a guitar, fingers on strings kind of musician. But I love all the programming stuff. But I guess it just sort of integrates right in, and you just choose sounds and boom,
exactly.
There you
choose sounds, samples, and stuff like that. In patches. And so I used the Splice. I'll send you the link to that video. It's a cool video, and this is where the idea of that song came along. From that what I did for that Splice video. So I decided to just pursue. I kind of liked what it did, and I just added some elements to the song. And then at some point I was like, it would be cool to have a vocal, But again, I can't write the melody. I had an idea because I did it on the Splice video with a kind of a sampled vocals. But I called up Anne Clémence, and she heard the song once in the studio. We were working on other stuff in the studio, and she right away started to write lyrics and a melody on the spot.
Great.
It's like that's fast, great. And she did an amazing job. So that's kind of the official version of that song.
It's a reminder that lyrics, if lyrics don't come easy to us, we got a couple options. One is we can try and push ourselves through that and try and teach ourselves how to write lyrics. And I think that's doable, but at the same time, I know from my own experience, there are people that are just kind of living and breathing it all the time, always writing stuff down, and they just maybe have an easier time thinking of something that they want to say lyrically.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
It's and that, again, to your point, is like, find people to write with,
Yeah. And same, I have also my friend Rex Verzosa, we collaborated on a few songs also, more than once. And same here, he's super fast. He writes lyrics on the spot, good melodies on the spot.
Yeah.
And very versatile, so I love working with these people.
Yeah, it's great. And then have you found people in MCC, you said they're collaborating in that way too. They can find, you can, what have you learned either through that or through people telling you how they do it about the ways that people find other people to collaborate with? Like, let's say you're making music, you're by yourself, you got your home studio somewhere. What would be the advice you'd give to somebody like, well, try this, if you're looking for somebody to write with?
I would say, start with all the ideas you have, lay that down. And if you're part of a community, it's easier because you can right away, by knowing people inside the community, you can know, which people you think you'll be able to work with potentially, and you can reach out and try it out, So here's what I have, like I did on my side with every time I collaborate with people, I come up with a base idea where I'm going with the song, and then what I need to fill up the voids, So even sometimes it could be only a bass track, Like I did that video not too long ago where it was like I kind of dig up an old song I made with my good friend Rex and Jimmy back in Quebec, and I remember the bass line. Another friend of mine was playing the bass, and for some reason, good bass line was I don't know. I didn't have the direct line recording, so it was only the bass amp recording was too much overdrive and stuff. So I needed to replace that bass line ASAP. So there's another friend of mine in Toronto that he's a good guitar player, good bass player, and there you go. So you know what? I'll send you the tracks, and can you just play a bass line?
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, that's
and
fun.
Stuff like that I like to do. Just like we did together. I remember one video we did with the Stangberg collaboration thing.
Yeah, what's the
VST Connect?
VST Connect. Yeah, what a brilliant thing they figured out how to do to make it that easy to do an overdub remotely.
Yeah,
from another location.
Exactly.
Because it's possible, and you can cobble something together if you really think it through and figure it out, but it ends up being a lot more complex than you realize,
Oh yeah,
to pull it off.
Big time. But yeah, so stuff like that, that I like the way I like to collaborate with people.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it's
That's
only
great.
for one instrument. Sometimes it's like way more on the writing side. And
all right, so let me go back. Common struggles. So that we started to talk about songs a little bit. That was all songs right there. How about common struggles that you're learning from your community about just performance, about just how to like play something well and make it, have a good version of whatever it is you're doing, drums, bass, guitar, singing.
I think that could be a challenge for a lot, and sometimes I feel like some people have a hard time to let go on things and to, again, collaborate with people. It all comes down to the same thing,
Look, when it comes to finishing your music, nothing compares to iZotope Ozone 12. This is a complete mixing and mastering suite of tools with 20 pro modules to shape your sound. You'll find the new bass control for a tight, powerful low end, new unlimiter to restore life to overcompressed tracks, and new stem EQ so you can rebalance vocals and drums and bass without even opening the mix session. And when it's time to make your music loud, the IRC5 Maximizer gives you loud, clean mixes and masters that still sound open and clear. Save time with AI-powered workflows that keep you in the driver's seat. Ozone 12 takes the guesswork out, but you stay in control so your music translates everywhere, from streaming to stage. Go to iZotope.com and use the code ROCK10 for 10% off. Meaning that like they keep doing it over and over and over again to try and get it perfect, and then
exactly
it loses something?
Because I think, like for me, the take needs to be a good take. The emotion needs to be there. You need to aim for that.
Yeah.
For all of this, a good vibe, a good performance, So I think the performance on the song plays a huge, huge role on the whole production. If something is loose, if something is not tight, it's not going to work, So it's going to be hard to even if you have like the best plugins and the best sounding mix in the end, if the track is not tight, it's not tight.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not going to get any better, if with a bunch of plugins on. But sometimes we get a bit too attached to our own music, and we want, some people like to touch everything and to and not be able to let go on some stuff, So that's always a bit of a challenge for some, but the minute you pass over that and you start collaborating with people, and it's not because you're able to do things that you have to do things on your project, on your productions. Get someone better than yourself, And I actually I fired myself out of a recording session once.
Really?
Oh yeah. I don't care, So it's like I wasn't able to cut it off as a drummer, because on most of the productions I worked on, I was the one playing drums, doing all the drumming, the drum sessions and stuff. So at some point, I remember producing this album, and it was like a couple of songs. I think it was 3 songs, where one was a reggae song, and the 2 other songs were jazz. Jazz songs.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm a rock guy, So I tried to pull it off for the reggae one. And I remember listening to the tracks, and Jimmy was like, that's pretty good, man. So he's like, nah, that sucks.
They're both very distinctive styles. I remember sitting down one day to try and learn. I'm a drummer, a hobbyist drummer. That's how I'd call myself. I love playing, but I rarely call myself a drummer, but I sat down to learn how do the drums go on reggae, and it was really fascinating to like study it. It's like
it is.
It's like the hi-hat and then the kick, and if I recall, it was the kick and the side stick landing together on the beat 3, which ends up being a backbeat.
But there's a lot of feel to it. There's something in the feel that if you don't get that part right, you're done. And that's what happens to me. That's exactly what happened. So I was like, I got the shots right and stuff. It was tight on the click, but the feel wasn't right.
Yeah.
It was like a wannabe reggae player performed by a rocker, Didn't work. didn't
Well,
work.
cool.
So I actually remember Dan from Florida. Dan Myers, his name? I forgot his last name.
Dan, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so he's the one who helped me out.
Dane Myers.
Dane Myers, yeah. So Dane helped me out back then. He had access to a huge studio with the amazing musicians, and he recorded 3 of these songs. We made the arrangement here in Quebec with Jimmy, and we sent out our pre-production files. And it was like a trio, a drummer, a pianist, and a bass player recording live in that big studio. It was amazing.
Cool. That's cool.
For the 2 jazz songs.
And that was down near the sunshine, so they probably knew what reggae might feel like.
They nailed it. So, things like that, and same for my bass stuff when I play bass, and I had to call my friend Dan Kaminsky in Toronto, to play the part, because I would be okay, but not good enough.
It's funny. I saw Dane when he came through Nashville some years back.
Oh, yeah.
And he had gotten himself a Tesla. He was driving that north. Yeah. And I was like, what are you doing in Nashville? Why are you driving up from Florida? He said, I'm headed up to, Dane, I hope I'm allowed to tell this story. I think so. I can't see a reason not to. But I'm headed up to Canada because I'm going to there's a guy up there who can put a really cool hitch on my car. And I need that special hitch so that I can tow this trailer. And then he showed me a picture of it, and he was getting this cool trailer thing that would go behind his Tesla. And in the trailer would be a mobile recording studio so that he could go anywhere and do a record with somebody.
That's awesome.
And solar panels. So he was putting together this whole rig, and camping and stuff. So he had put together this whole rig where he could go somewhere and then pull out the solar panels, set up a solar array. And he said, and then the 2 days that you're there hanging out with these people, it could be in the woods or wherever, recording and making a record.
Oh, that's awesome.
The car's recharging on the solar panels, and it runs the studio. And I was like, that's awesome.
It's crazy. I know that Dane, before he got the Tesla, at the time I worked with him, he already had like a little setup in his car.
Oh, right.
I actually made a video on my YouTube channel, it's been like 6-7 years ago, and where I was down to Florida at that time, So I drove to Orlando to see Dane, and I kind of filmed the setup he had in his car at the time.
That's cool.
Incredible. What a guy.
That's cool. He made a funny video that he also showed me where he was, he wrote a rap about I don't remember what it was about, but the Tesla has you pop the hood up and you have something called the frunk. It's the front trunk. So you got the frunk, and it's like this little plastic, bin there. And sure enough, it looks a little bit like a bathtub. So he took like some plastic and put it in there, and he was in the video. He's in there doing a bubble bath in the frunk of a Tesla,
way.
Doing a rap. And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so moving on last thought about performance. You're talking about drums too, as a drummer, and you tried to make the cut. And that to me is one of those things that I've noticed in productions, and as we begin to record something, is and I just saw an artist last night on stage, where once again the drums, there was a great drummer, and I was like, boy, it really pays to have the right drums and the right rhythm track.
Oh, yeah.
It gives you the backbone for whatever kind of song you're going to do, so that all the rest of it can come together,
Totally. That's the backbone of a song.
So what do you tell people who are like, well, I don't know a drummer and I don't have a drum kit? So do you have advice for people about what tools are really great for building a drum sound to build a track off?
Yeah, for arrangement purposes or pre-production, you can go with a good sounding VST drum. Try the best you can. Establish a good rhythm, a good groove.
What's a good VST drum? When you say that, what does that mean? Are you thinking of
a
variety of plugins or something?
They're all pretty good now, It wasn't the case back in the day, but now, Superior Drummer, there's Easy Drummer, there's a bunch of different options, even DW has their own VST drums.
Addictive drums, yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. There's so many,
And
there's
then Logic. Logic has it built in now.
Yeah, same for Cubase, Groove Agent, so.
Oh, really? Oh, Cubase?
Yeah.
I didn't know Cubase had that.
Yeah,
built in too.
it works super well. You can even add some packs that you can purchase on top of what's included, and they sound great, So there's that, I kind of like using these drums for pre-production purposes mainly, even if I'm going to re-record the tracks afterwards.
Yeah.
Just to establish a good arrangement, establishing the groove right away, start building the pre-production on that groove, And so someone can actually start to work with VST drums, and then you send that out to a real drummer. And it's not that expensive to get some good tracks. You can go on Fiverr, and
since
find
you're
a drummer
there. Oh yeah, good idea. Good idea. Since you're a drummer, you obviously have a vision for what the drums that you want. So how do you use those other tools, but still have them play the kind of drum part that you wished that it would play?
Oh, but I think it's just a matter of establishing the bass parts.
The kick drum.
Yeah, the basic groove you're looking for.
Right.
And then you let the rest to the, if a drummer is used to record music, of course you're going to aim for a session drummer that offers his session services. He knows. He's going to know what to do, You just have to direct him. It's like, same for vocals. I made a video on YouTube about AI vocals with a software called Dreamtonics. A company, Dreamtonics, that made that software, and there's several softwares out there, that's where you can record literally like good sounding vocals, writing them down like with MIDI notes and stuff, with the power of AI and samples of real singers blend together, and you have that super cool tool, And since I'm not a singer, this is how I use this tool. I love working with this tool. It helps me to produce music. It helps me to write music and arrange vocal parts and stuff. And not necessarily to keep those samples or those AI vocals, But that is a good tool for me to establish a good melody and a good vocal performance to send to a singer to come back at the studio and record the whole thing, And as I do with the VST drums or strings for that matter.
Right. It makes sense. Yeah, and it's amazing with the vocal thing, because that's really brand new.
It's brand new.
Drums, strings, those have been around for a minute. Instrumentation. Native Instruments, of course. Contact has got like a vast library of instruments.
I love Contact.
What is it? Session guitarist. You can
crazy things.
Pick a guitar and have it strummed and played, and it sounds like a real guitar.
But now that we're at the vocal thing, we got to the point. Okay, we did it for guitars, bass, for strings, orchestration, drums, and now vocals. Right,
so you can put in the lyrics, you can play the melody idea on a keyboard. What do you hear on the keyboard when you're playing? Does it just give you
You don't play that this way. What I do is I write the melody straight with a piano sound, and then I import that MIDI event straight into this instrument.
But you can also, sometimes with these, you can sort of sing a rough idea in, right?
Yes, you can.
The melody.
And then you bounce it, you import it back into the instrument, you go see the notes.
That's wild.
And you choose the voice of your choice.
So what's next? Everything. What's next? Next we have an AI A&R person who signs you to an AI label. And then do we start generating our audience so we get to go play to a show?
Imagine that.
It's like thousands of people. And
asking ChatGPT to bring us an audience.
All right. How about the recording side of stuff? What are some common struggles that your students have in just the recording aspect?
The room.
I know that performance is really kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
What about vocals? What about singing? I know we can do AI, but what about for those who want to do the singing themselves?
Yeah.
What are some challenges you see there?
The room, usually. Like you record out of your bedroom or the living room out of your apartment. There's going to be lots of reflection if the room is not treated enough to get a good vocal take. People might be stuck with the room sound into the microphone. The sound is going to bounce from wall to wall and getting back into the mic. So you'll be, a lot of people are going to be stuck with that recording. And you don't want to get a recording where you have to use restoration plugins. You want to avoid that. They're good plugins, good tools, but I use these tools for an emergency. If I'm out of options, but getting it right at the source is always something you need to do. And I think people put a lot of focus on, especially on YouTube, they put a lot of focus on mixing. And I'm not talking about the creators, but I'm talking about the audience. They're looking for content on mixing more than content on recording and arranging. Right. But a lot on mixing. If mixing is the magic thing that is going to make or break your song. But we were talking about that earlier, the song itself is the magic thing. It's the magic thing. And then it's going to be if you want a good mix, you need a good arrangement.
Yeah.
An arrangement is key to a very good mix. And we're talking about, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say sometimes and I've joked about this on here that the fascination with mixing is the same. It's a parallel to the way that people are they don't really want to eat better and exercise. They really would rather have just something that comes in a weight loss pill or something.
Yes, exactly.
It's, it can be that way with mixing sometimes. It's
very good comparison.
The mixing would be a lot easier if we just simply, wrote a great song, performed it really well, arranged it really well, and then recorded it really well.
Yeah. Yeah, when you look at, mixers on Mix with the Masters and stuff like that, when you listen to the initial tracks they get to mix, what do you notice?
They're pretty good sounding tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The arrangements are awesome. So there's no instrument fighting with each other because everything is arranged well. So it kind of mixes itself pretty well also. Mm-hmm. Every instrument is in this, or guitar parts or keyboard parts sit in their own registry, in their own frequency range, not battling with each other and stuff like that. So the arrangement side is very, very important. And of course, the quality of recording, mic placement, the performance, the tightness, it's all part of the performance side. But, all of this makes the mixing process so easier.
Yeah.
And it makes the whole production sound amazing. And at this point, even if the mix is not perfect, it doesn't matter at this point. If you have a good arrangement, a good song to work with, the mix is not perfect. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're
that
still going to
probably
like the
answers
song.
My question on mixing. Are you ready to launch your career in the audio or entertainment business? SAE Institute Nashville, right here in the heart of Music Row, offers hands-on programs to prepare you for the industry. From studio production and live sound to audio for film and a whole lot more. You'll learn by doing, working with professional-grade gear alongside experienced industry pros. If you're more into the business side of entertainment, SAE's Entertainment Business Program teaches essential basics like contracts and promotion to help you navigate the industry. With diploma, associate, or bachelor's degrees, there's a path for everyone. Plus, Career Services supports graduates as they take the next step. Want to see it for yourself? Immerse yourself in Nashville's exciting music scene and book a tour today at nashville.sae.edu or call 615-244-5848. But is there anything else that you have been excited about in terms of mixing? I mean, one of the things that's come up a lot more from when we started doing, when I started the podcast, when you started YouTube to today, is there's a lot more available plugins that you can just put on the mix bus, mix right into it. God Particle is one that I use a bunch now, and it's really fun. Logic has a built-in mastering assistant, which isn't a mixing plugin really, but it really kind of sort of is also. Mm-hmm. Anything that you've been excited about or that you found is kind of helpful for your students in terms of that?
Talking about the type of plugins and the tools? Tools or methods that are sort of top-down, for the mixing process. Something you'd put on the two bus that really does help people
reach a good sounding mix in the target range quicker?
I think it's more the mindset and more the not necessarily a plugin itself, but more like, find a good compressor for the mix bus. It could be the compressor you like to work with, but try to understand what type of compressor is going to work well on the mix bus so it keeps your life easier afterwards. Because I do that also. I do have like some processing on the mix bus even before I add a plugin on the kick. So
do you have a lot of students who might show up in the community that use too much compression or too little compression on the stereo bus?
For sure. Too much more than too little.
Usually too much. Okay. Yeah.
You can get away with too little.
They overdo
it. Doesn't
it.
matter.
So I shouldn't have even brought
stuck.
up more plugins. We don't stop using so many plugins.
I don't think you need to use as many plugins.
Right.
There's no rules, for sure. But sometimes, you have like a bunch of, you can see some of my vocal chains or even the mix bus and you say, how come you have so many plugins? Yeah. But sometimes the plugin is not going to do a lot. It's just like a tiny thing. Or sometimes just the tone of what's going on with the plugin is good enough. But it takes a slot, into the chain. So it looks like it's a big thing. But it's not. No, I think it's more the understanding on what you put on the mix bus and what it does and how to manage it as you mix into it. Always keep an eye on the amount of compression you get as you mix. Because if you forget about it, you can end up afterwards with like an overcompressed mix because the mix bus compressor is like going nuts,
Yeah, and one of the challenges with plugins is that mix bus compressor might not be visible on the screen while you're working. In an old school studio, you could always look over, or maybe it was right up there on the desk near you.
Yeah, like on my side, I have the Tegler Creme, which is my main compressor for my mix bus. So I always keep an eye on the
on that
gain reduction
bouncing
meter.
So that's a good reminder. So that's one of the reasons why it's nice to sometimes have multiple screens for working. When mixing is because you can actually take some of those, key indicator plugins,
and you leave it on the second screen.
Yeah, leave it on the second screen over to the side so you can always see it.
Leave it open because I love the top-down thing, because I do it by default most of the time, especially with the mix bus. Then I go to individual instruments, and then there's I have some plugins that I mix into from instrument buses also. But always keep an eye on things, on metering, especially compressors and limiters or whatever you have on your stuff.
Okay, next question. Releasing music. Do you have people in your community that are actually putting their music out on the internet?
Yeah.
What are the struggles people have? What are the challenges obstacles to actually putting it out there?
I think putting it out there is not the hard part. Is to get on playlists and to get maybe listeners and try to build an audience from uploading a song on Spotify and other platforms. I think that's the most challenging things for most people, because to get songs on streaming services, it's not hard.
Right.
You get a service with DistroKid or whatever, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's everything around that, And I know that there's people, there's YouTube creators that are focusing only on that. So I don't do that myself, so I don't know.
Right. As far as getting the music out, as far as getting it, building an audience and marketing and promoting, that's less of the focus.
That's a completely other thing, Even when I was, when I produce albums or mix and stuff and master, the minute I'm done the mastering, I just like give the master to the client, and I am out of the picture from that point.
Yeah, there's certainly some great resources out there for anybody who wants to.
There is.
Learn more about that. I know that from my own experience, and you've had this experience too. So growing a channel on YouTube is a version of having to self-promote. Me doing the podcast, same thing. Yes. And when I launched the podcast, I really wanted to, make a splash with it. So I followed somebody else's great advice and created a spreadsheet and wrote down 100 names that I knew, friends and family and people that I knew. I just made a list of 100. And then I sort of had check boxes. It's like, okay, I sent it to them. I asked them to put it on Facebook. I asked them to post it on Twitter or whatever the things were at the time, and I just sort of methodically went through it. And I think that's a fair one to just remind us without necessarily having to go too deep in that world of promotion. But, if we're in this situation where we're like, well, who's going to listen to it? Who do we know? How's it going to get out there? Do go find whatever your local community is. Just go see if you can go play on a stage or
gigs.
do an open mic night or whatever.
Play locally.
The other is just like make a list. You probably know 100 people, Make a list and don't be afraid to just sit and methodically go through the list and, send an email on the first.
And I would also add, go nuts on social media right away.
Yeah.
While you're recording the song, while you're working on your music. Just like post anything, like try to build your audience from social media. A lot of everything is done through social media. Businesses advertise on social media.
Yeah.
They try to create their own followers on social media. It could be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. YouTube, but document the process. What you do when you write music or what you arrange, record, or collaborate and stuff like that. And then when you release your music, at least you could be a little fan base or maybe something that grows over time.
Got a little more to show.
You have more to show on top of what you already mentioned,
Yeah. I've been trying to write a lot more music.
Same here.
And having fun doing that.
It's cool. We should do something together.
As you know, I went down to the beach for a month and wrote songs there and stuff. And it was funny because while I was on that trip, I took a trip to Costa Rica, and some of my listeners will have heard me say this already. But while I was there, I didn't post anything on social media. I was like, I did not want to. I'm detached, So, but it's interesting to think about it in that context too. It's like you can. But what you just said, a reminder is like, yeah, but I took lots of selfies and I sent them to my friends and stuff like that. But close friends. And so what you can do is you can, like, to your point, gather the photos or the video or whatever's interesting so that you have that to share later. And then that could become, part of your release or something.
Exactly.
Might be a little less timely, but it probably still make it a little more effective.
Yeah, and instead of sharing the pictures, the selfies, or the videos of your process to your friends, put it first on Instagram and then share that link to your friends.
You could do that.
Yeah.
You're great at Instagram. You use it all the time for your channel. I think you did an Instagram video just before we started the podcast. You pointed at me.
I'm going to say that I don't think I'm good at Instagram, but the reason why there's a bit more activity there, it's my daughter. She takes care of all my social media stuff. She does my video editing and with the help of my wife also manages the business also. So that's great.
That's really good. That's smart that you guys figured out how to sort of bring the whole family in.
Yeah, because I wasn't able to do everything myself.
Yeah. And now your other daughter is sort of interested in other things too, or I guess not everybody in a group family situation, not everybody wants to do the same thing,
No, so at all.
It's cool that you guys found common ways to collaborate.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So my oldest, she's the one who works the video editing, all the graphic design, my thumbnails. It's all her. My youngest, she's at university. She's studying business management. She's doing something else. It's awesome.
Right on. Okay, cool. Now let me jump to this. So one of the tools that, and this happened while I knew you and you were growing the channel, is I remember we had a discussion many years ago, and you were teaching and sharing studio stuff on YouTube videos, but then it became clear that you use Cubase all the time, so maybe it would make sense for you to focus the channel on that in a lot of ways. Did you? Talk about that a little bit, and I have questions about Cubase. I guess that's what I was going to say.
Sure. No, I think there's YouTube, social. There's lots of noise. Okay, so a lot of people like me making videos about mixing and about recording and stuff. So that's why from day one, my first YouTube video is a Cubase video. I started right away using the Cubase thing because this is what I've been working with since I started my studio back in 2002. So, but the channel is kind of, I would say like most of my audience are going to be Cubase users.
Yeah.
So I do have this little thing attached to the channel where I'm kind of one of the Cubase guys on YouTube with my good friend Dom Sigalas, Greg Ondo, who is part of Stangberg. So the Cubase side of things is an important part of the channel. And this is what makes my channel a bit different than other mixing channels, I would say.
Yeah. I guess what I'm remembering, maybe for some reason I was thinking that it was a pivot for the channel, but maybe it was the point at which you decided you were going to make courses that were entirely focused on Cubase.
The courses were, the first two courses were a bit, like the first one was the Ultimate Guide to Cubase, so it's pretty much a Cubase course. So, which was super well received. It still sells. Like every week I sell a course at least of this course. And
well, it's helpful because if you get interested or if you have Cubase and you want to use it, then it's great to find a course that's just focused on that, so you really learn how to use that one tool.
The second one was a mixing-oriented course. It was the Ultimate Mixing, the Cubase Mixing Masterclass, it was called.
Right.
Yeah, so again, more oriented towards mixing with Cubase involved,
Yeah.
However, even this course especially, and the mastering course also, anyone can take that course. It's good for anyone who wants to just mix music with the tools they have in their own DAW.
Right.
So, because I focus more on the techniques than the DAW itself.
Okay.
In these courses, yeah.
Okay.
But the fact that I named Cubase is, that attracts my crowd.
Yeah, totally. Why should people who are either haven't really decided what DAW they want to use yet, what DAW they want to record with, or people who might be using something else, why should they consider Cubase?
Because Cubase is good at because Cubase is good at everything in a way that it's like, I worked on Pro Tools. It's amazing for recording, editing, mixing. The MIDI side, not that much. A lot of people will record and mix on Pro Tools, but will do all the production on Logic, for example, where Logic is way more MIDI and virtual instrument oriented. Yeah. From what I know, I never worked in Logic.
Logic has tons of instruments. And Cubase also has tons of instruments?
It has a ton of instruments. A ton of plugins also. So it's good at and the MIDI side of Cubase is pretty advanced. So you can do a lot of, it actually started as a MIDI sequencer.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the late 80s. So same for Logic. You're right. So it's good at the MIDI side. It's good with virtual instruments. It's good for recording, amazing for editing. The mixing side of it is awesome. It has evolved since it came a long way since I started to work with Cubase on the mixing side. And it's it does everything very well. So for me, it's kind of a go-to, It's hard for me to work with something else because it just does all those different aspects so well. Even for vocal tuning, it's integrated in Cubase.
Right.
So I ditched Melodyne when Very Audio, which is part of Cubase, when they released that, I forgot which version, but since that point, I just ditched Melodyne and just worked with the one integrated in Cubase, and it works super well.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great to have everything you need right there, where you don't really have to go out and find other stuff.
At this point in time, when I'm recording this podcast with you, I'm working on my next course, which is focused only on Cubase plugins. So it's kind of a encyclopedia, or a reference guide where I go through all the single plugins, including Cubase.
That's great.
There's a lot of good stuff in there, I'm telling you.
So we were talking about compressors and mastering stuff a moment ago. Those exist also as Cubase plugins?
Yeah, totally.
As far as a stereo, like the 2-bus
They have like
compressors
different compressors, like a tube compressor. They have like a one that could go on the mix bus, no problem.
Yeah.
They have vintage type compressors. They have also a multi-band compressor, another type of multi-band compressor that does downward and upward compression. Also, it's called Smasher. Smasher. Anyways, it's a lot of them. I just love it.
Are you recording your own music or other people's music in your studio, but you're having trouble figuring out how to get your mixes to sound great? Do they sound weak and distant or lack punch and clarity? Well, I've got a gift for you to help you take your mixes from sounding like basement demos to sounding a lot more like professional mixes. And it's my free course called Mix Master Bundle. This course will show you how to get pro-sounding mixes from your home studio with free and stock plugins in Pro Tools. And the best part is, these mixing techniques will work for you in any DAW, whether you're in Logic, Cubase, PreSonus Studio One, Reaper, or anything you can think of. Are you ready to make your best record ever? Then go to mixmasterbundle.com to get started for free now, and you can find the clickable link in the show notes of this episode. Yeah, and then does it do the kind of like mastering assistant plugin? Like Isotope also does an Ozone, or like Logic does? Okay.
I don't know about Logic, but like a kind of the kind of AI type of thing that Isotope has.
Right.
Yeah,
it'll help you like dial your master in.
No.
Okay, cool. Let me see. The next question I would just ask you is about equipment. You get a lot of cool stuff in. What's been exciting for you lately?
Lately, I think it was like almost a year ago. I got this guy here. I know you don't see it, but it's my Channel 1 Mark III by SPL. It's a channel strip that I use.
Oh, that's where you're hearing your voice on right now, right?
Yes. So, there's a bit of tube saturation on it. There's an amazing dual stage de-esser. And this is what I like the most about this channel strip, the de-esser. Okay, so it's great. There's also a transient designer that I don't use on vocals, but it's there. Good compressor, kind of 3-band EQ. It's awesome. When I record videos, my mic goes right into it. Right now, I'm recording a podcast with the SM7B. It goes straight into this channel strip. The only time I don't use this channel strip is when I record a podcast with Steve, because we only have one.
Right.
You
use the same thing for both of them.
Yeah, we each of us have a SM7B, so we just like go straight in, and I do the mix after. So I have like.
What do you like about the SM7B?
Everybody uses it on podcast. It has that podcast sound.
There you go. That's fair. I mean, it really is a fair thing to say.
It's just like, I don't know. It sounds fat and huge for some reason. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's fair to say, like, if everybody's making film and then you want to make something that feels like a film, then you better go get some film. It's like.
Exactly. It has a kind of a smoothness to it also, Maybe that's why people love to use it on podcasts, because, on speaking voices, it sounds smooth. It sounds comfortable to listen to. Funny enough.
It does.
Yeah,
and it also has it's a great rock vocal mic too. We were just talking about it on recent podcasts.
A lot of hits were recorded with the SM7B.
Yeah, it just sort of like It's almost compresses the voice. It probably actually does compress the voice because it's a dynamic element.
For me, it's like going at Cracker Barrels and eat comfort food.
That's great, man. That's great. Anything else? I know you've had cool headphones in the studio.
Yeah, cool headphones. Yeah, talking about gear. Let me check. Some compressors also by Warm Audio. That came in, the dual compressors, the 1176 stereo version, the revision A and revision D, that are pretty good. Made a video on this one, on the two of them, and I used them in the drum recording room. Because I kind of like to record stuff with some compression right off the bat.
Right.
And so these works pretty well. I love the fact that they are stereo, so you can use them in stereo, but also in dual mono. So that's pretty cool. And aside from that, speakers, I'm working lately with the Cali Audio, the Santa Monicas.
Oh, cool.
5. And they sound great, honestly. I love Cali Audio.
Do you have a
They're
bunch
great.
of speakers? Have you gone through all kinds of monitors and speakers?
Yes. I actually have a pair of heads that are coming my way in a few days from now to try out. I have some Adam monitors also that I have to sell. I don't use them anymore. They're in the box. They're good monitors, but at some point, I'm not going to use 10 of them,
Right.
And the rest is mainly headphones, a lot of headphones. Like I told you earlier, I love to mix on headphones. I do both, but I love working with headphones. Actually,
Which headphones have become your favorite for mixing on?
I'm torn between 2 pairs. The MM500 by Odysseys and the Head 2 by Head. They sound completely different from each other. They're not cheap, but I end up mixing a lot with the MM500, and when I have some mastering to do, I'm going to use the Head. But I do EQ them. And lately, I actually received these last week from Olo.
Oh, right, from Olo Audio, the X1s.
The X1s, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're actually pretty good, I have to say. They're dynamic.
Yeah, they sound great.
Yeah, they're dynamic headphones. I think for a dynamic pair of headphones, it's like one of the best I've heard so far. The MM500 are like 3 times the price of an X1, but they're planar magnetic headphones.
Right.
And which is a completely different technology, yeah. But
the Olo headphones also come with software that you can install that essentially. So the headphone has a little bit of a built-in EQ curve, and each headphone they measure before they send them out. So they actually send you a signature curve, EQ curve for that headphone.
That
and then
you
the
load
software,
into the
load that in, and it'll like do the reverse and flatten them out for you, or mimic other environments.
Exactly.
Which is pretty.
This is how I use them also. So, but on top of that, I added the Harman curve straight from that software. And tweaked a bit of the EQ to my taste, and it was good.
That's cool, man.
I don't know if you heard about the Harman curve.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I'll send you a link to a video that actually went pretty well on my channel.
Okay, great.
Yeah, about that, about how to EQ your headphones and how I use the Harman curve on my headphones, and that honestly, for me personally, it changed my whole mixing on headphones experience. And I actually got that one from Paul Third on YouTube. He made a video.
And so when you use this
then.
curve in your headphones, it helps you. You felt like your mixes were turning out better.
Yeah, better translation. Actually, the goal of the idea of the Harman curve is to get close to what speakers sound like in a flat treated room, basically. So that's basically it. So you get that same kind of experience, but on headphones.
Is that related to Harman Kardon, who makes speakers? Is that the same Harman?
I'm not sure. Probably.
If it is. Yeah. Might make sense.
But
cool,
yeah,
man.
so that's the way it's been the thing, especially in the audiophile world, but it kind of bumped into the mixing world also. And it's a thing, it's you EQ your headphones. We do it with speakers.
Yep.
We have like correction softwares, and we analyze with SonarWorks and Arc Studio, and we do our correction with speakers. So it's a bit of the same in a way for headphones. So basically, you're going to get a bit more bass, a bit more enhancements, which is going to end up translating a bit better. And so again, it's in my book, it's a personal thing. You got guys like Andrew Sheps who mixed for years using the Sony's
7506s. Yeah.
Oh, I hate those headphones. So, all power to you, Andrew.
Well,
because,
most headphones have a wacky EQ curve.
Yes,
that you might
like
not
these.
realize. They're like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
All over the place.
But again, if you get used to that sound and you know how good production and good mixes sound in those crappy headphones, it's going to work well for you.
Right.
Which it did for Sheps for so many years. Now,
and I mean, to his own admission, though, I mean, I think he would do so much of the work on headphones, but then still check it on the speakers.
Of course. Yeah, same for me.
Confirm that it was right.
Same for me. Yeah. I do both, but no, I think it's a matter of getting used to the headphones and to listen to whatever. It could be headphones or speakers. I think the important thing, and I think a lot of people kind of miss that part, is for the best translation ever, I would say make sure you reference a lot with professional mixes, the same way as you use your speakers or headphones when you mix music. So if you you use your headphones with EQ, with Harman Curve, or your speakers with SonarWorks, but when you listen to Spotify, you bypass all of this because it's only in your DAW, you're missing the whole point. You're going to get used to listen to music without the correction, and then you get back into your Cubase or Pro Tools or whatever, mixing your song, and you apply the correction. It's, I don't know, your point of reference is completely out of whack.
Yeah.
So.
Cool, man. Well, so let me ask you this question, man. We've done this before. You're back on the podcast now.
Yes.
This is a question I always love to ask my guests. It's hypothetical, and we get to take the Wayback Studio machine, and you go back in time and you find younger Chris. You probably still had the same beard, man. That's what I'm guessing. Have you had that beard since you were like 7?
Probably, even on my baby video that I did with Steve, and also on the AI baby thing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It kept the beard on me.
That's
kept
really
the beard.
funny.
Yeah, very short, but it's still on.
What's the AI baby thing? I actually don't know about that yet.
I'll send you the link, man. I'll send you the link to the video I made with me. Like, I took a part of my tutorial video out of YouTube, and I got ChatGPT to generate a baby version of that segment of video. I did the same for a part of the podcast with me and Steve, and it's the same, like our same voice, but only the visuals are kind of the baby stuff.
Oh, it just swaps it out with the baby.
Yeah, it's just so funny. It's so funny. It was like kind of an AI trend. It was on TikTok at that time, and I took advantage.
Okay, so you go back and you find younger Chris, and you say, "Look, dude, here's some advice. Here's the single most important thing you need to know to be a rock star of the studio yourself one day." What advice do you feel like going back to give yourself? I mean, at this point, maybe it's like giving yourself advice before you started a YouTube channel, whatever,
If I go back, so that was like years ago, I would say don't overdo it. Make moves with reasons, have a reason to make a move. Every move you make, have a reason. And don't overdo it. You don't need to overdo it. And I would even add to what I said, focus on the arrangement. A good arrangement, a good song is going to play a long way to a good mix.
Yep. Good advice.
I would say, this is what I would tell myself. Don't overdo it.
Sage advice.
And sometimes,
Groovy, dude. Well, thank you for hanging with us again, man. It's great to have you back on the podcast. I would say it's great to see you again. I saw you this morning, so we see each other all the time, which is awesome. Let the rock stars know, where would you like them to go to learn more about you? What if they want to go check out your course?
You can go click on just write down the mixdown.online or mixdownacademy.com or mixdownonline.com. It's all going to lead to the same place.
And the mixing community, that's there. They'll find it there as well.
They're going to find it there. By the time this podcast is going to air, that community is going to be, now it's closed at the moment, but it's going to be wide open year long. So you can jump in at any time you want. And you can go on YouTube also, Mixdown Online on YouTube, or search for my name, Chris Selim. You're going to find me there. Same for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and also the Studio Stuff podcast. So studiostuffpodcast.com to get to the podcast. There's a YouTube channel. You can go subscribe, ask you any questions you want. Me and Steve are going to be more than happy to answer them on the podcast. So
go get your questions answered.
Yeah, exactly. Get your questions answered. Thanks, Lidge.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. Rockstars, thank you for joining us. Thanks for hanging with us and watching this. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like the video and subscribe and drop a comment in too, even if you just want to say, that was cool, or yeah, I don't agree with you. Either of those are helpful because that really does help the channel, and it helps the video, find somebody who really appreciates it. So I'm thanking you for them as well.
Totally.
Chris,
cool.
Thanks for hanging with us, dude.
Hey, anytime. Thanks, man.
We'll see you soon, dude. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Recording Studio Rockstars. If you enjoyed the show and want to help make it better, then please share this episode with your friends on social media and leave a rating and review on iTunes to help the podcast reach more rock stars like yourself. You can click directly over to iTunes or go to rsrockstars.com/review for an easy explanation. And remember to hit the subscribe button to keep up with weekly episodes. And if you're ready to make your best record ever now, then head over to Recording Studio Rockstars Academy, where you can start with my free course at mixmasterbundle.com. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks for being a rock star. I'm Lid Shaw, and this is Recording Studio Rockstars. Now, go make great music. Recording Studio Rockstars would like to give a big thank you to our fantastic sponsors who help make this episode possible. iZotope, Native Instruments, Adam Audio, SAE Institute, Spectra 1964, and Picker. And remember to take advantage of our special coupon code ROCK10 for 10% off at iZotope.com and nativeinstruments.com for any plugin purchase. Don't forget, you can start mixing right now with my free course, Mixmaster Bundle. You'll find the link in the show notes below. And if you enjoyed Recording Studio Rockstars, please check out our sponsors also in those links in the show notes. These are all things I highly recommend for your studio. They are going to help you make your best record ever. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this, it's a great way to help support the show, and I really appreciate it, and I thank you as well. I'd also like to thank our fantastic team here at Recording Studio Rockstars: Vlad Weselchenko, Jeffrey Simmons, and Max Young. Thank you so much for watching and listening, Rockstars, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.